Welcome to WNL Sports Weekly. I'm Jeremy Franklin. This week we'll speak with men's soccer coach Mike Singleton, men's cross country captain Austin Kinne, and women's soccer captain Danielle Spickard. But first, here's a quick look back at the weekend in Washington and Lee athletics. Football evened up its ODAC record by defeating Bridgewater 30-20. Volleyball picked up home wins over Lynchburg and Stevenson, while men's and women's swimming opened the year with victories over Center. Field hockey fell 1-0 at Bridgewater, and women's cross country finished second behind Division I William & Mary at the Christopher Newport Invitational. Women's golf placed fourth at its home event, the Generals Invitational. Women's soccer picked up a 4-2 win at Shenandoah, and men's soccer earned a 1-1 road draw against 9th-ranked Lynchburg. With me in the studio is men's soccer coach Mike Singleton. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Both of the goals in that match at Lynchburg came very late. The Generals equalized on a Jack Rollins header in the 88th minute. How important is that result to get the draw at Lynchburg?
Well, it's an absolutely key result because it puts us in the position where if we win out the rest of our conference games, we'll host the conference tournament. And in our conference, home fields are a huge advantage given the different styles and sizes of home fields. So if we're able to do that, that goal will turn out to be an absolutely critical goal for the whole season.
That was your fifth overtime match of the year. You lost a couple against nationally ranked opponents early in the season, but you've gotten three straight results, including wins over Christopher Newport and Randolph-Macon. What's working for the Generals in getting results in those close games?
Well, I think the guys have learned their lessons from those poor results we had at the beginning. And in that, I mean, we're tightening up defensively, making sure we don't provide any opportunity while at the same time continuing to play our attacking style of soccer. So I think the guys have paid a little bit more attention to making sure we don't expose ourselves in the back in overtime, and at the same time we're really doing a better job of choosing our times to attack.
The Generals have an incredibly talented group of seniors. That was also your first recruiting class at WNL. What have those players meant to the program?
Well, they've really improved the national reputation and esteem of the program. They've accomplished being into the NCAA tournament 3 times, and if they make it a 4th year, that's something that you can say, well, they couldn't do any better. And we're only a handful of schools in the country that have done so. So they've really been huge for the program. And soccer-wise, I couldn't ask anything more of them, but as people as well, they've been great ambassadors for the program, and I'm really proud of them.
You've got 6 matches left in the regular season. What are the keys as you try to build up to the ODAC tournament at the end of the month?
Well, the key for us is going to have new people stepping up. We have numerous injuries right now that we have to manage, and with 6 games in 13 days, you have to go deep on your roster because legs will just give up in such a short time with so many games. So it really is going to be people executing their role and making sure we manage games so we can spread the wealth in minutes and really get through this really difficult period.
Mike, thank you for joining us. Good luck the rest of the season.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Here with me in the studio is Danielle Spickard, senior soccer captain from Valencia, California. Danielle, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
The Generals had a few matches in September where you would dominate possession, create a lot of scoring chances, but not necessarily produce a lot of goals. However, WNL scored 7 goals across the past 2 contests, both wins for the Generals. Are things starting to click now in the final third?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think the difference with this year was we started off against 2 really top teams, and this whole season we haven't really played an easy team that we're beating 8-0. So I know just talking to some of our forwards mentally that was a little challenging not to get some goals, but this last week was really reassuring.
You generally play as a holding midfielder for WNL. How does your position impact things on the field for the Generals?
So I try and win the ball a lot, which is good. Try and calm things down. I'm not necessarily a really flashy player, so you're not going to see me taking on people, but just, again, trying to calm things down.
The ODAC appears to be getting deeper every year, more teams competing for those top 4 or 5 spots in the standings. How has the conference changed during your time on campus?
So it's changed a lot. So when I came in, Lynchburg had just won the national championship the year before, so that was pretty big. And then I think we were actually the ones to break their 82-game win streak my sophomore year. So that was a lot of fun, and just seeing a lot more competition come from other teams that necessarily weren't the greatest my freshman year has, I guess, changed our mindset going into each game.
You've got 2 huge ODAC games coming up, Virginia Wesleyan here on Saturday and then Lynchburg on the road next Wednesday. How are you approaching those matches?
So our weekly theme this week is details. So like you said, we've been playing really well overall, but maybe not necessarily finishing. So we're just trying to focus on putting away goals, but also preventing goals through tackles and little things like that. And so I think once we perfect that, we'll be pretty successful in these upcoming games.
Danielle, thank you for joining us. Good luck with the rest of the year.
Thank you.
I'm now joined by Austin Kinne, junior cross-country captain from Bolingbrook, Illinois. Last week, I asked one of the women's cross-country captains, Kirsten McMichael, about being a veteran on a very young team. You're pretty much in the opposite position. You're a junior captain on a team that has 6 seniors. How do you view your leadership role?
All I try to do with my leadership is just try to serve my team as best I can and encourage them. Try to bring the best out of their training and encourage them in workouts so that they run their best on race day.
The ODAC championship is less than 3 weeks away. Where are the Generals now versus where they need to be at the end of the month?
Right now, we're where we're supposed to be with our training. All we need to do to continue to perform and do well at ODACs is to continue to trust Coach Spalding's training plan for us and just to continue to get workouts under our belt so we're fit at that time.
WNL has a very seasoned group of runners. You're one of several athletes who have garnered all ODAC recognition in the past. There are even a couple of guys who ran at the national championship meet 2 years ago. How will that experience pay off as you approach this year's postseason?
Right, that experience is everything for us moving forward. The national and even NCAA regional meet run a lot different than a lot of the other meets that we perform at, just because of the caliber of athletes running there. So that experience is crucial to showing us how we need to perform and what kind of tips and tricks we have for running in such large meets.
Austin, thank you for joining us. Best of luck with the rest of the year.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's time now for a look at the upcoming weekend. The swimming team will begin its home slate against Mary Washington on Friday. WNL will also play host to the ODAC Relays on Saturday. Elsewhere on campus, men's soccer takes on Randolph, football faces Emory and Henry, and women's soccer meets Virginia Wesleyan. Riding will open up the season by co-hosting an invitational with UVA. It's also a busy weekend for the cross-country teams. Both WNL squads will send runners to Gettysburg. The women are also slated to compete at Connecticut College, and the men will take part in the UW Oshkosh Invitational. Volleyball heads to Randolph-Macon for a one-day tournament with the Generals facing off against Messiah and number 6 Juniata. And field hockey travels to Collegeville, Pennsylvania to take on Ursinus. For WNL Sports Weekly, I'm Jeremy Franklin. Thanks for watching.